Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified executive and business coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. I think today you're going to really enjoy this conversation with Steve Wachs. Steve's the CEO of Live Reps Call Center. I think really identifying and sharing key customer support opportunities for many different types of businesses. Your customer experience is essential to your growth and building and reinforcing your brand. He's going to highlight how their services really can be a game changer for so many businesses here. So before we dive into Steve, though, again, we welcome those viewers, especially those who are new to the podcast series. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you can receive future messages like you're going to hear from Steve today. So without further ado, Steve Wachs, CEO of Live Reps, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Thank you for joining us. Take a minute, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about Live Reps Call Center, and how'd you get started in the call center business of all places?
Yeah, hey Todd, thank you so much for having me. Bear with me because this is really our first podcast we've ever done. I've got two partners, but I'm kind of the spokesperson today. So thank you for taking the time. And call centers aren't the most exciting, sexy, fun, thrilling things to talk about. I think you've got some call center experience, but I think our story is pretty interesting, and it's been a windy road full of ups and downs, and I guess it all started back in the mortgage day, circa 2001, when, there were these kind of boiler room type call centers in every mortgage broker across America. And I was a mortgage broker. I hated dealing with people's personal finances. So I found a telemarketer who was unbelievable. Courtney, if you're out there, look me up. But she could get applications over the phone. I mean, like 16 of them in an hour. And everybody around the office was going, "Where is Steve Wachs getting these?" And I just realized quickly I could sell these apps for $50 a piece within the office. And long story short, it just became a real big thing where these, brokers were fighting over these apps. The the mortgage owner at that time, he had about 200 brokers, asked us to move it out of the office because it was becoming kind of a circus. And that's kind of when I really got into the call center business. I had a partner at that time who was critical and sort of helping me grow that segment of the business because I really only had one client. But then I realized, heck, if I can sell to this brokerage, why not just move it and sell to everyone in Cincinnati? And I was driving around in my car like hotcakes, like a Domino's pizza. And it was the Wild West. There just weren't many rules. There was no do not call. You could, ask for social security number over the phone and pull the mini app and slap that together, and they would close like 50% of the time. Obviously, the do not call came down the pike, and that was the first body blow because we had to go out and get automated. That's an interesting story in itself. And then the subprime market collapsed and started to ripple in 08, 09, 010 was kind of when we realized we were at the end.
So as you kind of play forward now, kind of 20 plus years, gone through a lot of different changes in the industry and the marketplace. Now, who are like your ideal customers? So if somebody's listening in and say, you know what, we should reach out, these guys provide outstanding service that we could benefit from.
Yeah. Well, great question. And it's interesting to note, back in 2010, we barely hung on to the business, and we went with more of an inbound model because we had this automated system. So we thought, oh, we'll just take businesses calls. Well, it's not that simple because if you say you're going to be there 24/7 or even regular business hours, you better have it staffed appropriately or else you're going to lose customers fast. So we struggled mightily. But fast forward to today, it's really an amazing complement to their business to add any call center. It doesn't even have to be mine, but we're basically helping them with efficiencies. We're saving them a bad press. If somebody calls a business and goes on Google and says, "I couldn't get through to them. I just simply wanted to know if they were open or where they're located," and you can't get through to them, it's bad press. It's lost business. And then email support. We do a lot of handling email support and live chat. But I guess at its core, this day and age, any business that's getting a handful of calls a day or hundreds or thousands of calls a day, and it's going to voicemail, That's just a huge red flag in our world, and we want to reach out to them and say we can actually do this. We can give you 100+ people to handle your calls for really the cost of one full-time employee, right around there, which is incredible to think about because that one employee can get COVID, can quit, can file unemployment, can be having a bad day. We're never sick. We're never having a bad day. And we're here 24/7, 365, including holidays.
So, are there any certain types of industries or verticals that you focus on, or is it more
Yeah.
general than that?
Well, that was a windy road too, because back when we were just trying to keep the business afloat, we would take anything we could get, and we got into some crazy verticals. I mean, if we had an hour, I could give you stories like you wouldn't believe. We would just take on all comers. So I guess through the years we have sort of developed a few niches, but it's really diverse. I mean, we're in probably 30 different categories. Some of the hot ones for us are logistics, restaurants, auto dealerships, home improvement, any service industry, HVAC, plumbing, any business that just demands a 24/7 presence. And one call is important to them because it could be emergency related. That's right in our wheelhouse. Restaurants have been a really big category for us. We locally, 7 years ago, we picked up Grader's Ice Cream, which was a great name for us, $100+ million brand, and they're dry ice shipping product all over the world. You wouldn't believe all the famous people that call in to purchase this as gift items for their band, or we've had Bon Jovi, we've had Oprah Winfrey, I could go down the line and list 100 celebrities, but we really have helped Graders because it's a classic example of a company that doesn't want to build their own internal call center. They're expensive to run. They're a pain in the neck to manage. These relationships we have, Graders plus 65 other clients, are wonderful. Some of them we speak every day, and we're handling all of the gaps and problems that they would struggle with, and we're handling it quickly. Others it's so smooth. We speak maybe quarterly or maybe yearly. I mean, they're like, thanks for handling all my calls and emails. And those are great relationships too. So I would say those are some of the categories, but yeah, we're in over 25 categories, and somebody could call me tomorrow from a different category and say, I'm getting 250 calls a day. I need help. And we could probably train on that and go live within weeks.
Outstanding, great examples. Very, very impressive, types of clients and some industries I think people wouldn't naturally think of from a call center perspective, right? So appreciate that. So given that, and you talked about the large number with 65+ different clients, that growth, what have been some of the key marketing strategies to building that client base, right? Because it's probably not an easy thing for a client that I would imagine to select somebody who's going to end up providing such vital support to their customers. Right?
Yeah. Well, we are a boutique call center. I mean, right now we're around 100 agents. Now they do work from home and they do work all across the country, and that gave us a really great talent pool. So if you got 100 amazing agents, they can do the work of thousands of people. But as far as like the key, there's key marketing strategies. We've tried a little bit of everything, but I mean, keeping this company afloat and growing it to where we are now, it's been hand-to-hand combat. It's giving a person a business card at a wedding. I walk into a restaurant, the phone's ringing off the hook, and you can tell the staff at the front is completely stressed, and they're having to do this while taking a carryout order or field a silly question like, "Are you open?" or "Where are you located?" So that's another touch, and then you just follow up with these touches. I mean, we've tried the networking groups, we've traveled and set up the booth at conventions. We haven't really found that that's worked. I've been on LinkedIn for 20 years. I can't recall a client that I received through LinkedIn, honestly. So there is probably no magic formula for our unique business. And that's what we're hoping, like the podcast might be a different approach because there's a lot to explain and it's technical. I'm not even Mr. Technical. I could get my techie team on here and talk about systems and how we hire and how we manage people, and they could go on for hours and days about that. But as far as the marketing and sales, I mean, that's the hat I've worn, and I've tried literally everything. We haven't had the money to throw at Google ads and do some real fancy things. So kind of looking forward to that in 2026, getting outside our norm and throwing some money at some advertising. But we've tried like radio. We've tried we had a billboard at once. Never got a phone call off of it. So there is
Okay.
no perfect answer there.
So, have you built like referrals? I mean, given the customer base you have, is that a process that's worked for you?
That's a great segue. Referrals have been absolutely the key, and you do a great job for people. Some don't go out of their way to give you referrals. Others are wonderful at it, and a referral is the greatest form of growing your business ever because you're not in sales mode. They're already telling you, hey, call Steve, call Live Reps, call Center in Cincinnati. They've been wonderful to me. They've helped me grow my business without the headache, and it's a great relationship. And here's why: our sales are up and our customers are happy. So if we can get a referral, that's like gold. And I have referral partners, and I have people through the years in the industry I could name that I could rattle off 20 of them that still send me referrals.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's the best way.
Very, very powerful, right? Right. So you mentioned some of the twists and turns, some of the pivots in your journey. So I'm curious, is there a past challenge that stands out? And I'm curious, how did you guys handle it, and what did you learn from that?
It was going remote. Everyone thinks, oh, you'll lose your business if you go remote. And this is the crazy, like my dad, who's 89, just still can't wrap his head around the fact that we're remote. But the reality is, we meet as a management team 3 times a week. We meet as an ownership team outside of that a couple times a week. We have a real high end, cool meeting space called Field Collective here in Cincinnati. If a client ever flies in and wants to get into a boardroom setting and talk, but that challenge of going remote was quite a challenge. We've got the old brick and mortar 50-seat call center with cubicles, and we spent a lot of time in there, and it was beautiful and it was fun. The environment was fun. But just kind of scrapping that, and this was actually pre-COVID. We had to go remote because our clients, we have clients on the West Coast. Like I got a medical center in Colorado. They didn't want to hear, hey, there's a foot of snow on the ground. We're in an ice storm. Sorry, we can't come in and take your calls today.
Yeah.
So we actually had the foresight to go remote before COVID. And that's another thing. When COVID hit, our clients, most of them realized record sales and great communication. A lot of clients were like, "Oh my gosh, we're devastated. The world's upside down." Our clients were thriving, and we had some infomercial clients on there that were running ads and just sailed right through it. But I'd say the challenge of, like any business, having to go remote and monitor people and keep an eye on people. Like we have it down to a science today, but when we first did it, and you really look at PCI compliance, and we're running credit cards, and we got to be airtight and on a VPN and all of that comes with that, and managing and training and monitoring the folks. That was a real challenge at the time.
So now, kind of turn that lens. Now, looking forward, what's a challenge you guys have in front of you right now that you're trying to solve for?
Hiring, explaining to people all across the country what a great job this is. They love the independence. They love the flexibility. Some people, it's great for their mental health. I mean, there are people who, love to get on the phone and talk and help people. They've got to be able to handle the computer element, because you're in a lot of different CRMs. Every client might want us to put information into their CRM or a different CRM. So you've got to be an upper echelon person as far as like your computer skills and your ability to think and move quickly on your feet. But the people we've had that are lifers that can take 100+ calls a day, they love the position. It keeps their mind working. They're making a difference every day. We're starting to do some really fun, creative win back things with folks, like gift card giveaways. We have a golden headset award for the top 3 people that exhibit excellent customer service. And our clients often tell us, hey, this person, that person, that person, they were exceptional on this call. I mean, they handled this stressful situation really well and saved the day and made us look good. So, but back to your point, the challenge is, going from this kind of 100-seat call center to maybe 300 to 500 seats. It shouldn't be a problem scaling because we've got our systems and our processes down. But now we got the clientele. So it's kind of just all coming together at once in a unique, fun way, and it's exciting. But I think we got to really ramp up our hiring approach and get more creative. Whether that's job fairs or get more on social media. And we got to explain to people this is a really great job that people love for all those reasons I mentioned.
So kind of building upon that, what would have been the best ways for you to find those people?
We have done several outreach things that have gotten people to come to our website. We need to do a little bit of a better job at that. We work now with a really great partner called AI Software in Cincinnati. They're great web developers and very creative minds. I mean, just the other day, I asked if they could, send out a couple different keywords regarding our hiring and make a few things pop on our website, liverepscallcenter.com. And they immediately did it. And we could see that kind of move the needle a little bit. But I think there's just a vast ocean of ways we can drum up, get the word out. What a unique position this is and a way to work from home. You can wear what you want as long as you don't have background noise and you can pass our security tests and you don't have anything on your criminal background. We'll bring you on board and train you and treat you great.
Okay. So kind of building upon that whole sense of team, culture is always a big focus within an organization. So how do you build and maintain and strengthen the culture, especially when everybody is remote? A lot of folks
Yeah,
struggle with that. It's one thing doing it when we're all in a room together. It's another thing when we're spread out across time zones and
yeah.
different locations, right?
I've got the dream team. We do. So there's three owners at the top: Dan Listo, Dan Labar, and myself. We're kind of this three-legged stool where we all dabble into everything, but I'm mainly focused on sales. Dan Labar is the finance guy. He's got payroll and the billing handled, but a great business mind and leader. And Dan Listo, same great business mind and leader. And he's kind of the driving force behind everything. But he kind of keeps everybody on point and sets up our meetings, sets the agenda, kind of runs those meetings. If he's not there, I'm there. But underneath that is that magical layer where we've got a superstar director of operations, Mike Maudsley, who is a military veteran, just genius guy. We had no business really getting Mike and his talent, but he was retired from Honeywell. So we made an offer. We go, Mike, this is probably a slap in the face, but because he was poking around the old brick and mortar call center, and he goes, "What are you guys doing here?" And we were able to bring Mike on, and he really helped us from a compliance standpoint, and really just a leadership. He's a true leader. And then underneath Mike, you've got Latisse Thomas, who's kind of HR, but wears a lot of hats and deals directly with clients. And you got Justine Walker, who is our head trainer, and same wears a lot of hats and is, I trust any of those three with clients or prospective clients, even in any situation. And then, the reps kind of feed off of them. I mean, they see the time they're putting in, sometimes 7 days a week. And, they're able to really keep people on task. We do a lot of QC, so we listen to reps calls and not in a demeaning way, like you're horrible and you botched that call and it's more of a, here's what you could have done. And that's voice inflection and everything in between. So I would say, a call center is a unique business. You got to have all these layers of people seeing a lot of different things going on, a lot of moving parts. And I'm blessed with that team that's really helped us create that culture.
That's outstanding. You cracked the code in finding that next tier of leadership who's really the direct interface with your associates on a daily basis. That's great.
And I'm glad they hung on. There were some lean times, there were times the owners couldn't get paid. I lost a house back when we were really doing that transition and the mortgage industry died, and I didn't think it ever would. We were doing millions and I was having a really good ride. And when we went through that barrel roll, there were we didn't know if we were going to make payroll, and we were running up a line of credit, and it got really hairy. And fast forward to now, we've got debt paid off, and it's sky's the limit. We're really working with clients we want to work with and choosing who we want to work with and help, and it's fun to watch.
So, so thinking forward from that, what's your vision for the business down the road? If you think 5, 10 years, what's your dream for where it's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice problem to have. We've got some things that might get referred to us or come our way that are low volume. Then maybe it's just very low volume and a very technical call, and maybe it's a 911 type call. So I don't, before I'd reach on that and take it, and it would kind of create some stress and some problems. Now we're kind of able to sit back, choose these bigger clientele where we can train. There's two types of reps. There's a shared rep who can take calls of all the 65 clients, and then there's a dedicated rep where their volume's so steady 7 days a week that it demands we can put a couple dedicated people on there, or you can do as many as you want. But that dedicated model is a lot better for everybody
Hmm.
because you're talking one train, and you're not there's isn't so much multitasking. So you get a little bit of a better agent, and it's one train, and then you get steadiness of calls versus we used to take a leap on seasonal things, and they'd pop for Halloween through Christmas, but then they fall off the vine in January. So our clients are a lot steadier, and that's the model moving forward. There's so many big businesses out there, from Delta Airlines and organizations like the IRS. I'm not saying we want to work with Delta or the IRS, but there's millions of them that have hour plus long hold time. That's
Hmm.
completely unacceptable. I mean, our calls in general, we handle calls at a 96% service level. So 96% of our clients' calls are getting handled within 12 seconds or less. Now, no call center is perfect. Every call center can have spikes.
Hmm.
But the reality is, if you partner with live reps or any call center that's got half a clue for that matter, you're, like I said before, your customers are going to be happy, your sales are going to be up. Customer support is a lost art. It's a big deal to people, and they don't want to talk to a bot. They don't want to talk to a voicemail. They don't want to go down an endless snake hole of press 9 for this department. They want to speak with somebody immediately and get their question answered.
We've all been there.
Well, and a fascinating thing takes place when a call is handled by a live human being. The end user, the third party, they actually assume that that person is in the restaurant or in the facility or in the building. They rarely say, "Hey, are you just a call center?" And that's because we're so well trained, and we've seen all the bullets. We've seen every type of call you could ever imagine. So we do come across like we've been working for that business at the business for a decade. I mean, we have literally honed it down, and the technology is a big part of that because everything's right there. Every rep has one screen with the CRM where they're inputting the information, and the other screen has all the Q&A. If they ever get stuck too, a manager can pop in and live coach them where the end user doesn't even know that they're on that call. So the technology is racing, and it's incredible, but nobody wants to talk to a robot. That's offensive.
Yeah. So, Steve, you've already shared several key lessons learned, but a lot of our viewers are newer in their entrepreneurial journey. So, to that entrepreneur who's kind of starting out, maybe a few years in, what would be the keys to success you'd want to share, or maybe what do you wish you knew then that you know now?
Yeah, that's a great one. I mean, obviously, you need persistence. You need just the ability to get rejected, whether that's on the sales front or you're failing, you're upside down, and you can't meet payroll. I mean, you gotta pray and you gotta push through that, and hopefully you got a team around you that's got the same positive energy. Because there's going to be body blows and things that set you back and things that make you question, wow, is this business going to work? But you gotta have that perseverance. I can't tell you how many times we were on the ropes. Didn't know if we were going to make it. Didn't know how to cover payroll. Late on our rent. Um, it could take a lifetime. So for anybody to tell you that you're a failure if this doesn't work out, or you don't know what you're doing by the time you're 30 or 40 and you're going to be a loser. That's just garbage. You can hit it big in your 50s or 60s, and I think we're going to be living proof of that. So I would say just keep your head up. Yeah, you could be in the wrong industry that doesn't match your skill set, but we always knew there was massive potential here. And we watched others in our industry making tens of millions, $100 million. Some of these call centers have 300,000 agents. So we're not, maybe we're not going to be the best, but I can tell you we've created a fun atmosphere, a fun, way to go about a business that's not very sexy or exciting. No one thinks of a call center. They hear telemarketing and think, oh, you guys are just telemarketers. No, we're like running these businesses. And I could go down the line. I mean, some of these businesses that have their act together that do a great job, like Skyline Chili, they had a help desk and they had calls coming in. But the help desk lady was on the verge of retirement and she wasn't coming into work, or the other's car broke down. Like, now that they've got this call center on their side, they're like, wow, we where have we been all these years? We appreciate the firepower, but back to your point, just keep plugging away, and you're going to have setbacks. And I think positivity is the key word.
Okay. So as we get close to wrapping up here, has there been a leader that's been very inspirational to you in your journey?
Yeah, I'd say my father. He's 89. He is, most people that know the story of Kings Island, the theme park right up in Mason, Ohio. The people that were in there in the 70s with him, they know that there wouldn't be a Kings Island without him. And he was introduced at the 50th anniversary at the base of the Eiffel Tower, and he wasn't going to make it because he has Parkinson's, and it was a rainy, kind of cold day. And he got up there, and they gave him 5 minutes to do a speech, and the governor's there, and the band, he spoke for 20 minutes on the whole story. And I've never heard it told like that. This is just a few years ago. And fast forward to now, he's being inducted into the International Theme Park Hall of Fame in Orlando in November, and he's going in with Dolly Parton. So that's not a bad name to go in with. He's not going to make it because he just can't fly. He's not in great shape. But we're going to go down there for him and represent and accept the award. And I would say just what I just told you. It's positive. His positivity and his perseverance were off the charts. I don't think, maybe you could say Donald Trump, or somebody that's been shot and gotten back up off the mat like that is in that league. But he had plenty of doors in his face. People laughed at him when he was trying to raise the money to build an amusement park in a cornfield in Mason, Ohio. They thought he was crazy. And he tells that story. It's on YouTube. If you type in Gary Wachs, just look around, and his voice is raspy, but he gets through it, and he tells it in a way that I think people will find fascinating. But I can't tell you, watching him like work and get out the door at 5:30, 6 a.m. in his suit and briefcase, when that place was, before it was being built and they were moving dirt, it was exceptional to watch. I could talk about it for 8 hours. There's plenty of video, but he would be the inspiration. And he asks about the call center all the time. He used to call my business right around the corner because I'd always say, God, we're so close. If we can just get this client and do this, we're right around the corner. So he called it right around the corner. And now he's looking at our numbers and our growth, and he's going, holy cow, that took a while, but this is pretty impressive.
What a great legacy. Really, in fact, the whole region, right? Everyone here or in this region was Kings Island, and
Yeah,
a true institution. Yeah.
Yeah, 1972. I had Fred Flintstone, Barney Rubble, and Scooby Doo to show and tell.
You won.
I was in the fourth grade.
You won.
They win.
So Steve, as we wrap, and what are the best ways for folks to learn more about Live Reps and or to connect with you and the team?
Yeah, there's a wealth of information on our site, including, I think, call recordings, testimonials, describes every service. We do inbound and outbound and email support and even live chat. So there's a ton of information on there. And if you got any questions, you can feel free to email me, steve.walks WACHS at live reps with an S dot biz, biz. And then liverepscallcenter.com is our website. So check it out.
Yep, check it out, folks. Those are in the show notes here for our episode as well. I encourage you to reach out, learn more, and to connect with Steve and the Live Reps team. So, Steve Wachs, thank you for sharing your journey, your story, the Live Reps story. Lots of great insights for our listeners to take and apply within their teams as well. So, thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you, Todd. You're a
Yep.
great interviewer and coach, and I've appreciated getting to know you. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. And to our viewers, again, we enjoyed having you. I hope you took great notes. There's probably a couple of segments here you want to hit rewind and go back over so you captured all the learnings here from Steve. And again, if you haven't already, we encourage you to hit subscribe and also hit the like button. That helps us share the message even more broadly with the audience. With that, hope you all have a terrific day. Thank you.